Howdy folks, Grok the DuckFarmer here, and I'm playing Factory in the Sky 4 on the FTOG server, and it is so nice being here in the Pagoda. With all my stuff moved over, it's really working out well. Oh, and I also put up a clock over there so I could tell the time. It's noon. It's always noon. I love it. So I went ahead and did a few things. Let's see, that was there before, but my seed reprocessing and mob farm stuff is back in place. Did make a few more different things. I think I already had that one, but I made ice, stone, dye, and amethyst essences. So I would have them for making some stuff later. XP stuff is here. There's the power stuff that was already in place. I did put my processing of the hammering and the sieving is there. Here's the hostile neural networks and my atomic reconstructor. And for the eagle eye people looking at this, you'll notice that this is the palace crystal, which is made by this. And I don't know when that changed. It was like 5 of these got changed at some point when I hit the button and went phew. And that also changes these trapdoors. The only complaint I have with trapdoors, for some reason it changed them, so I pulled them out, changed them all, and then I did the same thing with the emerald and the redstone over there. There isn't a good gold color one, so that's just going to have to be the way that is. Anyway, so there's that. Then I've got my mechanism stuff over here, which has been working very nicely. I did put a ender chest here so that whatever the output is just automatically goes into my refined storage rather than having to grab, stacks and stacks of whatever it happens to be. Did do a little bit of the ender IO, mainly because I wanted, here, let's just break a little. I wanted to be able to access the various conduits here. So there's an item. No, that's a fluid conduit down there below, and that's a power conduit above. So I've got the jumbo tank so that I can actually access water, and right below that is the fluid drawer that is providing the water for me, and pretty darn fast too. I've got the water coming up here to my electrolytic separator so that it can separate that into hydrogen and oxygen. And so that I love, of all the conduits and pipes and whatnot, Ender IO is the one I like the best because it all compacts down into one block if you can. And so that's why I set these up. And I also made the painting machine so that I could paint some things. Got a gilded blackstone there. Oh, pink cherry planks here. So there's a conduit bundle right through there. There's a facade in place so you don't see the bundles. You know, I like being able to hide my cables. It just makes me very, very happy. Other stuff that I did, I moved one of my energy cubes over to here so that it's getting power, and I created the player transmitter. So if we take a look at, don't need to show you those, made those seeds. Yeah, dark steel, energetic alloy, vibrant alloy. Those are all the Ender IO seeds. Makes life much easier. I made this. And I decided to just go with the starter because it's sending out 1K of power a tick. That's plenty. I don't have anything that really consumes that other than my wireless. And it consumes like 5 with every action. So that's hardly anything. Anyway, so all these you've seen before. The player aerial pearl is new. You use an aerial pearl on a zombie. And hey, look, there's the recipe. Pretty cheap. Not a problem. That would give you that links you to this. Well, you got to have that to make this a personal transmitter. And then I also made a binding card, and I jumped to the end, right clicked a Enderman, and bound that to me. So now I will get this power in any dimension, which is super nice. Of course, I'm mostly staying at home because I'm a homebody. That's just kind of the way it is. Let's see. I think that's pretty much just getting this all set up. Took some time. Oh, hey, you like my banner, or not banners, beacons here? I set up the FTOG colors so that I had a beacon here with regen, just because I wanted. Oh, and I also have these are travel anchors, and I love them because I can sit there and zip back and forth with just a crouch. Got the exit over there, mystical agriculture up there, and I'm definitely trying not to look over to the right and spoil anything because I did some work in creative single player. So let's get to the creative single player world. Whee! There we go. Bet you didn't know that you could jump dimensions like that. The reason why I'm coming over here, just like I did the pagoda, and no, that's the Japanese temple, and then I made my own version of it with going with cherry and the mangrove, and switching out the deep prismarine or dark prismarine with the copper. I just like that. So I did the same thing. I wanted to have a pagoda, and so I found a video online. I looked at a whole bunch of different videos, and I liked this one. I love bits and pieces that I really like about it. I love that it slightly narrows going up. Some pagodas, they are the same size going up, but this one, it's just a little bit pleasing that it slopes up. I do love the construction. I love looking at it that it's a mixture of, we've got the deep slate, we've got black stone, and several different types of deep slate. But if you look back, as you start looking at it, you can start seeing stripes in the roof. Fantastic building style. I don't do that. It's not something that comes to mind for me. So it's something that I love looking at other people's videos, copying their builds, trying it out, and eventually I'll start absorbing some of those building techniques. I've done multiple of these sort of striped roofs. I just it just mentally doesn't fit in my brain yet, but eventually it will. This is primarily the jungle. That's that kind of lighter color, and then there's a whole bunch of dark oak. So yay for the dark oak. Lots of good hidden lights, which I definitely like. And then I said, okay, I need to adjust this so it fits in with my theme of the mangrove and copper and cherry. And so this is my rendition of it. So I just used the clone command to clone it over to here. Same thing I did with the temples. And then I went through and I changed out some of the blocks. So to go with the copper, the outer piece of the roof here is all done in copper slabs, and then all the woods have been changed out to the mangrove. And I'm really enjoying mangrove and cherry in this series. It's just a good looking pair, and lots of calcite in the in this. Also, this polished basalt, which means that's why I made those mystical agriculture bits so that I could make calcite and basalt. Also, he's using a whole bunch of these copper grates, and I think that's fantastic. I love the way they look. They kind of look like windows, except I'm going with the fully oxidized version because I think that looks better. His was a like very first of the oxidation steps, but when I built it over there, I didn't grab the waxed version because I would a dummy. And so it's just I noticed over time it was starting to oxidize, and I was going, that's not so good. Anyway, so this is what I want to make for my pagoda. The other thing that I did here is a quick change. Is this used to be 3 jungle doors, but in the pack opening, the middle door opened up the other 2 at the same time. And I went, I don't like that. So I had a central door, and I love having a pressure plate so that I can go in and out without having to open the door, or I could go out without having to close it afterwards. But that made these trapdoors over here activate. And so I went, don't like that. So it's just going to be an open way in. I love the details that were put in here. I'm keeping everything the same structure, just a few changes. Like all of these, I put sea lanterns because that green there kind of matches the copper oxidized grate here. He had frog lights, which looked really good. I don't have any frogs to make frog lights, so yeah, I don't have any access to that. So I changed out those things. And I do love the use of these weeping vines in the netherwork block. Just a really cool collection, and using tuft here at the bottom. I Now that there's these other patterns, they're so much better. Just the plain tuft by itself is boring. It's just an ugly, ugly block. I don't really like it. But the others are much, much nicer. And instead of having a pillar going up with ladders, I've got elevators here. And so we can go all the way up to the tippy top and then come back down. And there's a way to come out on each of these and run around, the outside. Just a really cool build. Link is in the description. I'm drawing a blank right now on the guy who did it. I think this is a new one, because that one was I think that's Blue Bits, if I recall. And I'm drawing a blank as far as the Tory Gate. But this one, really cool. Check out his channel. Lots of great builds in there. Lots of fun accents. The use of these grindstones as a little visual bonus, because while I haven't personally been to any of the Japanese buildings, well, Bunk the Map says I'm waving my hand around. I haven't been to any Japanese temples or pagodas. The roof, from the pictures I've seen, they're very intricate, and that gives me the feel of that underside of the roof. I love it. So what I need to do is I've grabbed a schematic of this build, so I can go ahead and do that in my actual base. In fact, let's head that direction now. Whee! There we go. And so there's the pagoda and where I want it to be placed. And jumping dimensions like that is the best way to do it. Uh, and especially since I've got Featherfall because of the flight augment on my armor, I don't take any damage on reentry, which is great. So I went ahead and set up an extra little island over here just so that I could have my pagoda on this. I could bump this out a little bit more on this side, just so I can put. I'll probably make some more floaty tree islands with some trees to, like I did with my big temple over here. Same sort of thing. Make some floaty island trees. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of building here. I decided to set up a path to go into it, and then when he built, yeah, this one he called the fire pagoda, based off of another smaller shrine that had these sort of fires in front. Well, they were way off in the corners. I like that idea, so I went ahead and set those up. So we've got something a little bit of interest in front of just kind of that row of steps. So I'm gonna have to make a lot of stuff. That's why I've got a bunch of things, some various steps of various types. Weeping vines, I'm gonna have to use a bunch of that. Some source materials. I oxidized a stack of copper because I'm gonna need a lot. I'm probably gonna need a whole bunch more. White concrete, I don't know how much. Basalt, lots of cherry and mangrove, a lot of blackstone, a lot of deep slate. I've got some tuft. I think that's enough. I even have a stack of the grindstones ready, and then my construction section over here, so I can make planks and whatnot with the sawmill. That's so much faster than cutting up my logs into planks and then making some sticks and then making whatever fence or gates or whatever needs to be done. The stone cutter, so I can get the various bits that I need from there, and the framing saw. I'm gonna do that. He This build is fairly new, so it has stuff like the stripped woods. It also has mud bricks here, which blended in very, very nicely with the jungle. But since I'm going cherry and there are no cherry walls like this, I'm going to use the framed blocks. And there's these four you can see here. There's two more in the corners, and then these little bits right here. So we're not, it's eight of those. It's not a huge number of things. And then what I can do with the schematic when I'm ready to do it is I'll have it show me just the bottom layer. So I can go around and I can grab the blocks and I can start putting in everything that needs to be there. It's just empty down here, which, maybe I'll put the one single elevator, I may have it drop down in here just because it's going to be a space. Why lose this space? I like basements. Anyway, I'll have a single layer. He has torches in place to stop spawns. I think that's fantastic. He's got a lot of hidden lights to stop spawns. Again, I think that's fantastic. But I was saying I'll put down the first layer, run around, and I can see what the things are. Like this is regular stone, that's stone brick, that's andesite, this regular stone. I'll just go around and kind of randomize. I don't have to use this pattern. This is what I did to kind of randomize the base. But I'll just set that up. And then, over here, I've got my weeping vines growing. And every so often I run around with my shears because these are unbreaking. I like that. I'll come through and I'll harvest these up. And I don't know how many of these I need. I could look at the material list, but I don't care because I can just keep making more. And each floor has a whole bunch of them around the edge, which I think is fantastic. So fun architectural details in this, and I'm making little mental notes going, if I can remember, I'll use them in my builds later, if I remember. And just like that, the build is done. Well, it was like 3-4 actual real days worth of building. And one of the things that was very good is there was an update to the pack. Oh, hey, you like my FTOG colors? Yeah, I decided to set that up there so we could do that. So I could have regen over here because fun. Anyway, there was an update to the pack, and the refined storage dimensional card now works. It's not pulling down obscene amounts of power. And so I can access that from a distance, which is great. So if I go beyond what it had before, I can still access my stuff. Any dimension I can access my stuff, which is great. So this is done. And I was chatting with Middleclaw, and he was saying, yeah, that's far taller than my normal builds. Very true. My normal builds are about that tall typically. But that I wanted something that was good and tall and surround it with some more little islands to kind of balance my temple here with the pagoda. And I like how it turned out. I really do like this different use of dark materials to provide the stripes. We look at the map and zoom in. There's that nice pattern. I like that. And will I be able to remember that? Yeah, I don't know, but I can play with that. I can certainly pull up my schematic and look at it again. And it's how I learn how to do things is I'll see how other people built stuff, try it out myself, modify it to ways that I like, and then I have another, way of doing stuff. So just having fun with that. I did throw something in here. Let's run. It feels so slow. All right, so running up here, I did put a travel anchor here so that I can zip back and forth to the pagoda because, who wants to travel that far of a distance? Anyway, got this here. I've got a basement down below here. Let's get actually here. I don't know what to do down here, but, why waste space? But I did put my enchanting stuff up here in the next floor up. And it was just a nice little spot to kind of stick it in the corner. While this has lots of great vertical space, there's not much usable space in it. This is usable. This is kind of really tight. Yeah, there's not much you can do up here. This is not bad. This is okay. This is a decent amount of work. This is kind of what I like, a big wide open basement. But it's fun. I did make a couple tiny little changes. This was gray, and after I made all of these carpets black, I went, oh, that's supposed to be gray. Well, it's black now because I had them and I said, fine, I'm going to do that. And if I had frogs, I could do the frog lights, but nope, it's the sea lanterns. And I do like these copper grates. It's just a fun building accent. And a lot of just really cool building techniques in here, having that as a lighting option. Plus that gives you a deeper wall instead of things being super flat. And that's a super flat wall, but we've got the textures here and then these textures for the pillars of the stripped logs, but pointing inward as opposed to pointing up like they do well out there. That's an excellent way of breaking up that flat space. Likewise, we've got these lights above, which kind of center on these 3x3 areas. We also have the chiseled polished black stone above these pillars, and the use of these buttons. They're cool. Whoops, that's gonna flip that. We'll flip this one here. They're cool little accents, but they also stop the vines from growing down any, so they kind of stay at that little. The guy was saying that they look like upside down flames, and they do. They look really cool. So some really, really good building techniques in here. We got this lovely gradation of height. So that's not just a flat seating, that's kind of boring, but we've got a dark red, we've got the mahogany, we've got the pink terracotta. That's a nice blend of different reds, well, pinks. And so just some really good building techniques out of here. I'm really enjoying the combination of the mangrove and the cherry. They're just a nice combination. Uh, Explored it first with that and went, I really like it. Plus with the copper, I do like that copper. So just some really good fun accents on these. Had to do these at the very last because as I was building up, the lantern appeared, but with nothing to hold it. So I had to wait till I actually had the post here from the fence in place so I could put the chain, so I could put the lantern. But lots and lots of really good stuff. I did add the fire pits here just to give it a little bit more visual appeal, and it's just very cool. I like it a lot. There were a couple things as I was building it I missed, but as I went back and carefully looked, I was able to put things back in place. Like there was one of the posts I had overlooked, and stuff like that that can easily happen. There was a piece, one of these bricks was up at the same level as that. I did that on two roof sides, but I didn't notice that till after I made the schematic. So I said, okay, I'll just fix that later. But really, really fun to try that out. And I encourage you, if you ever get to a point where you go, I don't know what to build, look at what people have posted online, see what they have, follow their builds, find out what they did. You may get some good inspirations from that, some fun little techniques from it, or just a really cool build. And credit where credit is due. I have descriptions linking to the videos in the bottom of my video here, so you can check that out. And I do suggest you do so, just because it's fun watching what they, how these people think, and check out their other videos too. That's just kind of looking around going, yep, got a bunch more little islands floating around. It's just fun. Oh, I set up a waystone here so I can complete that. Did I do anything really interesting in here? Oh, ice and stone and dye seeds, made those. The amethyst wind charm. That's this little thing here. And I thought that was cool just as a nice little decoration here. Let's come up really close and I'll hit it. And quite often the game noises in my ear are far louder than what I have them when they put them in the video. But let's listen to this. I may have to crank that up. I also added a few more in here just to have I can barely hear them while I'm walking around, and it just adds a nice little tinkle. I would prefer them to be a deeper note, just because that sounds better than the super high notes, but that's okay. It's a fun little addition there. So yeah, I've been having a blast setting these things up and just getting all the resources for that. I was flying back and forth, had a big box there full of material that I could just use to fly up and down with. I think I did 2 additional stacks of copper out here and just let them slowly convert to the oxidized copper, so I had enough for the roofs, which was not that much, but the mesh on the inside took a little bit more copper than I actually had. And then finally, when it was all done, I just piped it back into the system. It was great. And yeah, the first 2 layers took a long time because I was constantly going back and say, okay, oh, I need more mahogany. Oh, I need to do some more stuff. And a lot of the stuff I didn't have, I would have to actually grab the essences out so I could get more of this calcite. I had to make that on the fly. And then by the time that level was done, the pack updated. I got my access all the way to my system, so anywhere up here I could grab my bits, and that made the last three layers way easier and faster. So that amount was like 2 times the amount of time to do the other three. So it's just the way it is. Anyway, do I? Well, let's spin that around a little bit more. There we go. Do I have an idea of what to put in the other layers? Nope. I really don't. I might move some of the stuff that's in here up into this. I could move the mechanism processing. It doesn't have to be right there, and I might as well move the Ender IO stuff too, and put that. Not this floor. That's the enchanting. Maybe the floor above, because there's room underneath. I could put that in. I could move all of my refined storage stuff. It doesn't have to be over in that chunk, and the stuff underneath it, the generating blocks, doesn't have to be there. I could put that in here, and that would give me something to use the basement for. So I could do that. I might move a bunch of the stuff out of my Japanese temple just to kind of clean that space up. And I kind of do better with the smaller spaces than the really big ones. Yeah, that's just kind of the way it is. Anyway, this has been Grok the DuckFarmer here, having a blast building Japanese based off of other people's stuff, but that's okay. I'm learning and having a fun here playing a Factory in the Sky 4 on the FTOG server, and you can too, until nobody plays anymore and we get rid of the server. Yeah, it's what happens. And thanks for watching. Bye.